everyone, and welcome to my channel. It's Mrs. Thinking of a Master Plan, and I am here with the credit tip of the month. And so just to recap, and you'll see me looking down at notes, and then I will be putting some reference points and pictures and things inside of this video presentation. So the first step was to actually pull your credit report, and also if your name is not correct, how to get that corrected, and the 3 bureaus. The credit tip number 2 was based on trying to get hard inquiries removed from your credit. And we talked about the difference between hard inquiries and soft inquiries. So that brings us up to the actual Credit Secrets book. It's called Credit Secrets, but it says how one couple beat the odds and took control of their credit and finances, and how you can too. So here is the actual book. And of course, that's by Scott and Allison Hilton. So step 1 tells us where to get our credit report and scores. So once you get them, and remember, we need to get the ones with the credit scores, and there'll be a variety of scores depending on the particular credit bureau. So right now, we're going to pretty much dissect the credit report. So there are 3 categories on your credit report. So the first one is public records. The second one is derogatory accounts. And the third one is unsatisfactory accounts. So public records are the worst because they include bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments, and other items of public records that anyone can see. When you have something in the public records portion of your credit report, you'll get inundated with letters from lawyers that can promise to help you and to remove these things. And they normally get your information. They purchase that information directly from the credit bureaus. So you just have to be very careful with these people. And they're actually recommending, if you would like help with an attorney, if you have something in your public records, to go to creditsecret.org/Legal Shield. Or if you need some more information on Legal Shield, let me know. I'll research it and provide you that information. The second thing is derogatory accounts. So those are accounts that are maybe you haven't paid and they have been referred over to a collection agency. So of course, by this point, if you have things in this column, you're getting those annoying calls from people trying to find out if you're there, or they tell you this is an attempt to collect the debt. So you just want to be very careful if you try to negotiate anything with them, or if they give you any promise, like if you make a payment or if you pay this, we're going to remove this from your credit. A lot of times they'll take your money and never remove the derogatory mark from your credit. And what happens is, let's say Victoria's Secret was your creditor and you didn't pay that bill, it went over to the collections. So the collection agency actually purchases the account from the original creditor, and they do this for pennies on the dollar. So what the credit agency really is trying to do, or the collection agency, is just get their money back that they paid for that account. So according to the book, we are not to do anything with those accounts. Note again, if you do have derogatory accounts that are in collections on your credit report, do not do anything with them. And we're going to discuss that later in the book. All right, the third type of account is unsatisfactory accounts, or accounts that have late pays. So a late pay is when you're 30 to 180 days late on a payment, but the creditor has not referred you over to a collection agency as of yet. So, don't get mad or emotional if there's a lot of information there. There are errors a lot of times on credit reports. It says over 50% of the times. So you may see that some of the information reported is totally false. So it says, and I quote this from this book, it says, you may even see some ridiculous collection amount you've never heard of from many years ago. You will soon be able to exploit their wrongdoings to your advantage. All right, so what I'm going to post next is a sample of a credit report, and it's actually the Equifax 3-in-1 sample credit report, where it has Equifax, Transunion, and Experian, and it just breaks it down and it compares the information each has. And it also tells us, you know, what type of account, if it's a revolving account or not, and how long it's been there, the account numbers, and all these things. So sometimes an account is only listed with one credit bureau, and in the case of the example provided, a collection agency has listed the debt. They're also showing medical collections showing on only one credit report. Then the third one is an Equifax account with a late payment. And I will insert that here and how it looks. And you'll see on the bottom, every on-time payment is indicated in green, and then a late payment is indicated in yellow. So, but if you look at Equifax and the account, if the account is in good standing, here it is. I need to put on my glasses. Yes, Miss Master Plan is getting of that age, you guys. She's got to put on her glasses. They're cute though. They're dirty, but they're cute. These are my little Armani. Oh, these are my Dolce & Gabbanas. My reading glasses. Okay. She's cute or whatever. But the account is listed there. And in this one particular account here in Equifax, it is showing a incomplete account number. So not all three credit bureaus will list the account the same. Even though every credit bureau shows late payments and every status is in derogatory, this will result in different scores on each of these. So it doesn't matter if all three are reporting the same account, and maybe you have if you have a late payment, it is definitely going to be there, but the score could be definitely different across all three. And so there's I'll also insert how a history payment can be listed on a credit report. So this is really an education piece to get you to understand. You need to understand your credit report in order to be able to correct the things that are wrong on your credit. Okay. So let's talk about those differences in credit bureau scores. So the reason that the scores are different.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
I don't know why Alexa is speaking because I did not call her name. I know you guys just heard her speak out, but whatever. Okay. The reason the differing scores is due to what is actually being reported on your credit report. Stated that Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion are likely different. And so one bureau could be reporting more negative information than the other two. For example, a judgment, a collection account, or late payments that's not being reported to the other bureau. So that could be some of the difference. Every bureau does not always report the same exact information. We've already established that. So additionally, a lower score could be the result of erroneous or incorrect information on the credit report. All right, so credit monitoring site score differences. So there are many sites online that offer credit monitoring services and provide you your credit report. There's some that are free, there's some that are paid. So one thing to keep in mind is that all these sites are using a different scoring system or an algorithms. Your credit scores, no matter what system you access, are calculated by the following categories. You have payment history, utilization, the length of your credit history, new and credit mix versatility. So different scoring algorithms place more or less weight on each of the categories, and that causes your score to be different. The most important score is, we all have heard of her, FICO, F-I-C-O. and you want to have at least one credit reporting service that gives you access to that FICO score. It's the most widely used credit scoring, and it is called FICO because it was created by the Fair Isaac Corporation. Top lenders use FICOs, and they make credit-based decisions based on that score. And this is from major purchases to a car, a mortgage loan, or credit cards. All right. So let's talk about FICO scores. FICO scores range anywhere from 300 to 850. So if someone told you they had a 900 credit score, according to this, it's not true. They're fabricating it. But on average, any score above 700 indicates that you have a good credit history. So 700 is our goal. Our goal is 700. Excuse me. So majority of your FICO score is determined by your payment history. How much you're currently in debt, and how much you are currently in debt accounts for 30%. So majority of your score is based on your payment history, and your actual utilization of your debt accounts for 30% of your score. That's a big chunk. So if we're talking, hold on one moment, let's ask Alexa. Alexa, what is 30% of 700?
30% of 700 is 210.
So 210 points of your score could be determined by your actual debt accounts. All right, so let's break them down. And we are just gonna go through FICO, and then we are going to start going through the hardcore things in this book, because what we did initially was in their quick start guide, and this is the actual book. So let's talk about accounts owed. So this refers to how much money you currently owe, total overall, all of your debt. Okay? Just because you may be in $100,000 worth of debt doesn't mean that you'll have a lower FICO score. It takes into consideration the ratio of money owed in comparison to the amount of credit that is available to you. So if you have a $10,000 line of credit, and sorry, credit makes me want to drink. Okay, so let's say that if you had a $10,000 line of credit and you charge $9,999, you would have a lower FICO score than a person who took out a $100,000 loan and say, let's use only a $100,000 loan, and let's say they only use $2,000 of that. Okay? Payment history. This is determined on whether or not you pay your credit accounts on time or your bills on time. Each line of credit has a scheduled payment. If you have a credit card, guess what? Every month on a certain date, that bill is due. Your car payment, every month that's due. You have a loan, every month it is due on the same day. So each line of credit has those scheduled payments, and credit reports show whether the payments have been late or not. That one's self-explanatory, really. Then we have the credit history length. So typically the longer you have had the credit, the better the scores. So you want to get some aged or dated credit on your credit report. But it's possible that someone with a shorter credit history has a better score if they've paid on time and have not maxed out all their lines of credit. So that's the thing. You want to make sure that you're not maxing out available lines of credit. Okay? FICO scores depend on how long your oldest account has been open, as well as the age of the most recent credit line account, and then considers the overall average. That is why closing out old unused accounts can actually hurt your credit score. So I'll say that one more time. Closing out Old, unused accounts can hurt your score. So it's no need to close out an account that you have that's old. Maybe it has a low or zero balance, but it's in good standing. It can hurt your score, so leave it alone. Don't use it. It's very simple. New credit. Recently opened accounts are considered new credits. That's self-explanatory as well. When you open several new credit accounts over a short length of time, this shows a potential credit risk. So, as a result, there's a lower FICO score. But after some time has passed, good payment history, the score will rise. So if you get a bunch, if you get 5 credit cards all at one time, your score is going to take a hit. But if you pay them on time and you keep that utilization, we're going to talk about that in a minute, low, you'll be good. I don't want to make this extremely long. I really want to make this an education piece because I think with education, we'll definitely get where we need to go, but we have to understand how to get there. All right, so credit mix. So a portion of your FICO score takes the various accounts or types of credit accounts you have. So individuals with a good mix of credit cards, vehicle loans, mortgages, and charge at retailers or financial loans will see a benefit in their FICO score. So all your credit shouldn't be credit cards. All your credit shouldn't be loans. It needs to be a good mixture of the two. Okay, now let's talk about this 30% utilization. So credit utilization is calculated based on your total outstanding balances compared to your total credit limit across all of your cards and lines of credit. Some scoring models penalize you for exceeding 30% utilization on any single card or line of credit. So good rule of thumb, if you have a credit card with, let's say, let's ask Alexa, what is 30% of 1,000?
30% of 1,000 is 300.
So, if you have a credit card with a balance of $1,000, you should not charge more than $300 on that credit card because that will keep you within that 30% credit utilization you need to be in. So, keeping it between a $100 and $300 balance, you will be good. But what you want to do, or it says a good rule of thumb, is to keep your balance below 30% on all your cards at all times to kill 2 birds at one stone. Two birds with one stone. Like, I can't talk today. Like, really, what's going on? Okay. So, that is some information about FICO scores. Let's, I want to go through, talked about this inquiry removal letter. I'm just trying to see where we're going. Okay. So let's talk about why some FICO scores go up or down. So sometimes your FICO score fluctuates just a bit, and that's okay, so don't freak out. If you monitor it daily, you're going to make yourself crazy, okay? A credit score is not a fixed rate of measurement, and it all depends on how well you use your credit and when it is regularly updated. So your scores will also fluctuate between different credit score monitoring services. All right, so if a credit bureau pulls your account information on the 29th of the month and your balance is high, and then you pay off the balance the next day on the 30th, your score will remain lower than if you would have paid the card off on the 28th. So in that case, you would have to wait up to 1 month to see the score benefit. So even if you pay off a credit card, rule of thumb, wait 30 days to see that impact that you're looking for in your credit card. Going on a shopping spree 1 month and using up a lot of credit could cause a FICO score to drop. But if spending behaviors changed and less is used on the credit account, a credit score could jump. So it is recommended by financial experts that you should try to avoid carrying more than a 30% balance of a credit limit. So I think that will be our credit tip 3. It's important. Avoid carrying more than a 30% balance on your credit limits on your credit cards. So that means that if you have $1,000 credit card, your goal is to get that credit card paid down under $300. Okay, that's when you're going to experience that jump in your FICO score. Okay, so, and because it varies from lender to because FICO score varies from credit bureau to credit bureau and even credit monitoring service to credit monitoring service, this book says that all you really need to know is no matter what scoring model is used by a particular lender, this book is intended to help you get your score as high as possible. So that is the goal. So credit tip 3, once again, is to do an assessment of your available credit lines that you currently have or your credit cards. And what you want to do is to get them at that 30% or below utilization rate. This is something I myself also need to work on. And because I'm a planner girl, you know I'm going to get a project sheet and I'm going to start knocking it down. But if you've been watching my budgeting videos, then you know that my husband and I are doing the 100-150 method. It's something we made up, where 1 week we pay $100 and the next week we pay $150 on our credit cards. And that's how we're snowballing to get debts down in I think in a relatively short amount of time. So I can definitely let you guys know how that goes. But that is called the 100-150. And if you're able to financially do that, it will greatly help you. Like, we knocked out some debt so quick. And we just started doing this in June. So this is only our second month of doing it. But we definitely have been successful in doing it. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me this month. This is the Master Plans Credit Tip number 3. Remember, utilization below 30%. That is our goal. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. And like I've said in every single video, I'm not a credit expert, but I am reading through this Credit Secrets book and I'm sharing with you what I learned. So if you have any questions or comments, I'll make sure that I respond to every question. Otherwise, I wish you well in doing your inventory and assessment of your debt, especially credit card debt. And let's talk about your goal to get it down below 30%. Thank you so much for joining my credit tip. I hope you have a great month. Stick with those budgets and let's get that utilization down. Ciao, Bella.